So then I came back to New York, and again there was the problem of thinking what I would do after that.
What to do, yeah. You were in such a particular inside point.
Because I had had the experience
Yes.
needed for Zionist activity. And
were you still president of Junior Hadassah by then?
no, I had already finished my 3 years.
But I'm sure you sat on the board or whatever.
Oh,
you
yes,
were involved.
of course, sure. Then word came to me that the SHA, the Society for Advancement of Judaism, that was headed by Rabbi Ira Eisenstein and Senior Rabbi Mordecai Kaplan, would like to have me take the job as executive secretary of the SHA. Ira Eisenstein was the executive director. That was a new experience for me because I hadn't really been part of the Reconstructionist organization, but it sounded like an exciting thing to do. Okay? So that turned out to be a very rich experience, in addition to the fact that it was new for me to be planning these kind of activities, and I'm very, very fond of Ira Eisenstein and his wife Judy, but the experience of working with and coming to know Mordecai Kaplan was something that was hard for me to explain, to express just how rich that experience was. I've always known that he was known as the giant.
Right, what a mind. What a
giant
leader.
Jewish
Modern
thinking.
Jewish thinking. That's right.
But to actually have the experience was something else. Now, part of my job at that time was to meet with Mordecai Kaplan every morning when he was working on a speech he was to give in honor of a very special birthday, and I don't remember which one that was, but he was working on a speech that was a New York or national event celebrating his big birthday. Let me tell you, would you like to know something about
Yes, I'd like to hear
Mordecai Kaplan was like?
What was Mordecai Kaplan like? You got to see him day to day, and
That's right.
a very productive time of his life.
My introduction was in the morning when my appointment would be for 9 o'clock, and he wasn't back yet from his walk. Everybody takes walks, but what was Kaplan's walk? Different from anybody else's.
Yes.
Because he took a walk around the reservoir. They lived, I think, in 92nd and Central Park West. And he would take that walk every day, around and around and around and around, hatching out, thinking through some idea that had to come out in installments for him. And he would walk until the idea was complete. And then he'd come in and you could see he was tired. And his wife Lena, who was an Eshet Chayil, if ever there was one, who had been standing waiting for him to come home, worried about how tired he would be and everything. And she'd open the door for him and she'd be ready to come in and have some breakfast. He went off without breakfast today, and he'd push her aside because all he could think of was to get into his study and to begin to jot down the completion of whatever it was he was thinking about that morning. And
what a walk.
then after he'd catch his breath and be through with whatever it was, he was ready to tell you something about the background of that study in which I sat across from him at his desk. It was lined from one end to the other with his diaries. He had a diary for every year since he began his rabbinate. And when he would be dictating to me about some idea that he was going to talk about, he would say to me, "Would you like to know what I thought about that in 1915? And he'd turn around in his swivel chair and he would put his hand on the diary of that year. And he would take it down and turn to the page and he'd read to me what he thought it might have been, say, something about women's participation in religious services, or it might have been about this community organization that was his big thing, and how he's been harping away at that for years and years."
So he really had a sense of all that was in his mind.
He had everything in his finger, and he would be so sentimental about the references, and in some cases very dramatic, but that was just
how he worked.
Exciting bit. We finally got the speech done, and then they were going over it and over it and over it. So that was really one of the exciting experiences right from the beginning. And then I had another opportunity during that short period that I was with them. Dr. Kaplan had organized a little group of seminary students. I think there might have been about a half a dozen. And because of my relationship with Kaplan, he invited me to join that group. It wasn't so much a study group as it was an opportunity that he wanted to test his ideas.
So people really talked back, if you know what I mean, and
That's right.
challenged him or helped him think it through.
I'll never forget that look of excitement when he saw that something that he was trying to have us understand, when he saw that it finally seeped in and that we understood, and his face would light up, and he just would, like a child, he would say, "Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? You caught on, didn't you? You caught on." But there was...
Who was in that group now? Anyone that we would know today?
I tried to recall the names of those people, and I just...
I'm sure it's documented in other places.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Well,
maybe.
he probably has notes on it.
And
what a privilege to be part of that.
Right. But I remember one of the young people kept referring to good Jews and bad Jews. And he was so angry. He pounded on the table and he said, "There's no such thing as good Jews and bad Jews. We're just Jews. And I don't ever want to catch you saying that again." And he repeated that at the end of the session. Remember, there's no such thing as good Jews and bad Jews. We're just Jews. But what he always said was, the more tradition that a person brought into their life as Jews, the more meaningful their lives would be.
So that was what he meant.
That's
himself.
what he said.
If you really asked him about good Jews,
the more you brought, the more knowledge and tradition that you brought in, the more you'll enjoy your Judaism, because it has so much to offer. And so you don't suppose I'd ever forget those sessions. But that was an exciting job for me to move into.